Trust me, it's a gift of protection, a blessing for your marriage. Keep it in your bedroom always. As long as it's there, your love will be protected. My family has always believed in the power of this carving.
But Amara, still unsettled, nodded. She had no reason to doubt her best friend. They had been through so much together. After all, Ngozi was just looking out for her.
Thank you,
Amara said softly, trying to push away the doubts. She placed the carving on the nightstand, but her heart still beat a little faster than usual. The cursed wedding gifts. It was a bright sunlit afternoon when Amara and Chike stood before their friends and family, exchanging vows in a ceremony that seemed like something out of a dream. The air was thick with joy and hope, as the two lovers promised to cherish each other for better or worse. The sound of wedding bells echoed in the distance, and the smell of fresh flowers filled the air. Guests in their finest attire, the laughter of children running across the fields, and the music of traditional drummers set the tone for what everyone believed would be a perfect day. But in the midst of all the joy, a hidden storm was brewing. Ngozi, who is Amara's maid of honor, stood among the crowd, her smile wide but her heart heavy. She watched her best friend, the woman who had once shared everything with her, take vows to the man she had secretly wanted for herself. Chike, the man who had captured Amara's heart, had once been a figure in Ngozi's dreams, a love unspoken, unrequited. But now, seeing Amara's happiness, seeing the love between them, all Ngozi could feel was the bitter sting of jealousy. She had been by Amara's side through every heartbreak, every triumph, and now, as Amara married Chike, the bitterness she had been harboring for years seemed to consume her. What was Amara's was always Amara's, and now, even this was slipping away. The tension in Ngozi's chest built until it threatened to overwhelm her, but she kept her smile. She had a role to play.
You look stunning, Amara,
Ngozi whispered, adjusting the veil on her best friend's head before the ceremony began.
I am so happy for you.
But behind her words, there was something cold, something Amara couldn't see, couldn't feel. The wedding went on without a hitch. After the vows, the exchange of rings, and the endless rounds of congratulations, Amara and Chike were surrounded by family and friends who showered them with love and gifts. The day ended with laughter, music, and the promise of a bright future. But little did they know, one gift, the last one to be unwrapped, would change everything. Amara had no reason to suspect anything was wrong. She and Chike had spent the night celebrating, too happy to think about anything beyond their newfound life together. The next morning, they went into the room where the gifts were packed, with the intention of unwrapping the gifts one after the other. One by one, Amara and Chike began to open them. Personalized plates, beautiful hard wooden baskets, designer towels, but it was the last gift that caught their attention. The carving was intricate, delicate, and yet somehow it felt wrong. A wooden image shaped like a pair of entwined figures, so beautifully detailed that it almost seemed to breathe. It was heavy in her hands, almost as if it had a life of its own. The craftsmanship was stunning, but the more she stared at it, the more uneasy she felt. She turned to Chike, holding the carving up between them. Look at this. It's beautiful, but... Before she could finish, Ngozi, who had been standing all along by the side of the door, eavesdropping on them, quickly rushed into the room, spoke up and said,
Oh, that one? That's mine,
Ngozi said, her voice falsely sweet. She walked over.
It's an heirloom from my family. I wanted you both to have it. It's a gift of love.
Amara looked at her best friend, trying to make sense of the unease swelling in her stomach.
It's amazing, Ngozi. But why does it feel like it has a deeper meaning?
Ngozi forced a smile, brushing away Amara's concerns.
Trust me, it's a gift of protection, a blessing for your marriage. Keep it in your bedroom always. As long as it's there, your love will be protected. My family has always believed in the power of this carving.
But Amara, still unsettled, nodded. She had no reason to doubt her best friend. They had been through so much together. After all, Ngozi was just looking out for her.
Thank you,
Amara said softly, trying to push away the doubts. She placed the carving on the nightstand, but her heart still beat a little faster than usual. Over the following weeks, the couple settled into their new life, but the unease remained. Chike, once so full of life and love, began to grow distant. It was subtle at first. He came home late from work, distracted, almost as if something was always on his mind. Amara became confused and hurt, tried to reach out, but he pulled away. Arguments began to break out, small at first, but escalating. What was happening? One night, after a particularly heated argument, Chike stormed out of the house, slamming the door behind him. Amara stood there, feeling the weight of a silence so heavy it could crush her. Why had things become so strange? She looked at the carving, sitting on the nightstand. Something about it now felt ominous, like it was watching them.
Amara, you need to pray. Something is wrong here,
her mother Nnenna had told her weeks ago, sensing the change in her daughter's marriage. Amara, who had never been particularly religious, hesitated.
But Mom, I don't understand. Everything was perfect. Why is this happening?
Her mother sighed, gently squeezing her hand.
You need to turn to God. Trust in His guidance. Pray for clarity.
Amara started having some unusual nightmares that she had never had before. On one occasion, she saw a dark figure standing over her, whispering in her ear,
"You will have no peace. You will never bear children. Your love will crumble."
The dreams were vivid and terrifying, left Amara shaken, and yet she couldn't connect the dots.
The honeymoon period was short-lived. What was supposed to be a time of bliss quickly turned into a dark and confusing descent into marital turmoil. Amara, who was once filled with hope and excitement about her new life with Chike, now found herself struggling to hold on to the love they had shared. Something was terribly wrong, but she couldn't quite figure out what it was. It started with small things. Chike, who was once so attentive and loving, began to avoid her cooking. Every time Amara would prepare his favorite meal, his mouth-watering jollof rice, the dish he had always devoured, he would barely touch it.
You don't like my cooking anymore?
Amara would ask, her heart sinking a little each time.
It's not that.
Chike would mutter, his eyes not meeting hers.
I'm just not hungry.
But his words rang hollow, and the silence that followed was deafening. It didn't stop there. Chike started coming home later and later, as if the very sight of his wife had become unbearable. He would often disappear for days, leaving Amara to fend for herself, wondering where he was, what he was doing. She did wait for him by the door, only for him to show up in the dead of the night, smelling of alcohol and strange perfumes.
Chike, where have you been?
Amara would ask, trying to keep her voice calm, but the tremor in her words betrayed her.
Mind your business, Amara.
Chike would snap, slamming the door as he entered.
I am tired of this.
The once loving words he had spoken to her on their wedding day felt like a distant memory. Now, she could hardly recognize the man she had married. There were times when Amara would try to talk to him, to reach the man she knew was still inside. But every conversation seemed to escalate into an argument. The slightest comment would trigger his fury. One night, in the heat of an argument, Chike slapped her hard. Amara's cheek burned, her vision blurred with tears. She was in shock. This man, the man who had once held her with so much tenderness, had raised his hand against her. It was as if a switch had flipped inside him, and she didn't know how to turn it back.
You don't understand, Amara. You never understand,
Chike shouted, pacing back and forth, his fist clenched.
Chike, please, what is happening? You are hurting me,
Amara cried, her voice barely a whisper, as she held her swollen cheek. But Chike didn't listen. He stormed out of the house, leaving Amara alone in the dark, trembling. Days passed, and the arguments became more frequent, more violent. Chike slept outside more often, and when he did come home, he slept on the couch, not even bothering to share the bed with her. The silence between them became unbearable. Amara lay awake at night, wondering what she had done wrong. What had happened to the man she had married? Was he having an affair? Was he just tired of her? Then, after a few months of pain and confusion, something happened that gave Amara a glimmer of hope. She found out she was pregnant. She was ecstatic, though the happiness was tinged with fear. Could this be the new beginning they both needed? Could this baby heal the cracks in their relationship? For the first time in a long while, Amara saw a flicker of tenderness in Chike's eyes when he heard the news. He kissed her forehead and promised that things would get better, that they would start fresh for the baby.
We are going to be a family,
Chike whispered as he held her close, and for a moment, Amara dared to believe him. But the joy was short-lived. Weeks later, in the dead of the night, Amara woke up to sharp pains in her stomach, clutching her belly, but Chike was nowhere to be found. The pain intensified until she collapsed on the floor, helpless and alone. She was losing the baby. She knew it even before she could see the blood. Her heart broke, not just for the child she had lost, but for the marriage she feared was beyond saving. The miscarriage was a heavy blow. It felt as though her body had betrayed her. But what hurt more was the emotional toll it took on her. Chike was distant, cold even, and though he expressed sympathy, his lack of presence in her grief was evident. He didn't understand her pain, and slowly, Amara began to feel like she was carrying the weight of their entire broken marriage on her shoulders.
Why?
Amara would whisper to herself, staring at the empty space where their baby's crib was supposed to be.
Why can't we just be happy? What did I do wrong?
Her mind spun in confusion and desperation. She tried to hold on to hope, but it was slipping through her fingers, just like the baby she had dreamed of holding. One afternoon, when the weight of it all became too much, Amara's phone rang. It was Ngozi.
How are you, Amara? It's been a while. How's everything going?
Ngozi asked, her voice soft, almost too soft. Amara's voice trembled as she spoke, her words spilling out in a rush.
Ngozi, I don't know what's happening. Chike, he's changed. He doesn't eat my food. He comes home late. Sometimes he doesn't even come home at all. He doesn't sleep in our bed. I don't know what's going on, and I feel like I'm losing him. He even slapped me the other night.
There was a long pause on the other end of the phone. Amara wiped away the tears that had gathered in her eyes.
Oh, Amara, I'm so sorry.
Ngozi finally replied, her voice laden with concern.
It's not your fault. Men go through things sometimes, you know. You just have to stay calm. Give him time. Maybe he's just under pressure. You've got to be strong for him, okay?
Amara let out a shaky breath.
But I don't know if I can do this anymore, Ngozi. I can't keep pretending everything is fine. It hurts so much.
Ngozi's voice remained calm, almost reassuring.
I know, Amara, but you have got to be patient. It will get better. You just have to believe in it. Don't lose hope.
Amara listened to her friend's word, and for a moment she believed her. She let out a shaky sigh, calming herself the best she could. But deep down, a nagging feeling began to grow. A feeling that something was terribly wrong. But for now, Amara pushed it away. She had no idea what was really happening, but she was determined to stay strong, even as the weight of her broken marriage continued to crush her. The air in Amara's home felt suffocating. The once joyful space that had witnessed laughter, love and dreams of a future together now felt cold and barren. Amara stood in front of the mirror, her eyes swollen from crying, her reflection a shadow of the woman she had once been. She had tried to hold on to her marriage, to preserve what was left of it, but each day seemed to pull her further into despair. The man she had once loved with all her heart had become a stranger, distant, cruel and absent. The weight of her failed marriage was too much to carry alone. It was then that Amara knew she needed help. She couldn't keep this pain bottled up any longer. She grabbed her bag, wiped away her tears and walked out of the door. Amara arrived at her parents' house later that afternoon, her heart heavy with the burden of her thoughts. As she stepped inside, her mother, Nina, noticed the deep sadness in her daughter's eyes.
Amara, what's wrong?
Nina asked, her voice filled with concern. She could see the pain in her daughter's face, the way Amara's shoulders slumped under a weight she had never seen before. Amara didn't answer immediately. She walked to the couch and collapsed in it, burying her face in her hands.
Mama,
she said, her voice cracking.
I can't take it anymore. I don't know what's happening to me. My marriage, everything is falling apart.
Nena sat beside her, placing a hand on Amara's shoulder, trying to comfort her, though she could feel the heaviness of Amara's word.
Tell me, my daughter,
Nena said gently.
What is happening?
Amara let out a deep shuddering sigh. She had kept so much inside for so long, but now, with her mother beside her, the floodgates opened. She told her everything, the distance, the isolation, the abuse. She spoke of Chike's neglect, his cruelty, and the emptiness that had filled their once loving home. She told her mother about the miscarriages, how each one had shattered her more than the last.
Mama, I don't know why this is happening to me. I can't keep a child. And Chike is not the man I married. He hits me, Mama. He hits me. And I don't understand why.
Her voice broke as she spoke the words aloud. She had never imagined that this would be her reality, that her marriage would become a prison, her body a battleground. Nena's face darkened as she listened to her daughter's pain. She had always known that something wasn't right, but hearing it from Amara's lips made it all the more real and heartbreaking.
This is not the man I raised you to love, Amara,
she said quietly.
No one deserves to live in fear. Not you. Not anyone. But we will not let this destroy you.
Amara looked up, her eyes filled with confusion and despair.
Mama, I don't know what to do. I tried everything. I have prayed. I have tried to love him, but nothing changes. He's still the same. Worse even.
Nena stood up, her face hardening with determination.
Enough is enough. We will go to Chike's family. We will not let him destroy your life. We will confront him and we will fix this, or we will make him face the consequences.
The following day, Amara and her mother made their way to Chike's family's house. It wasn't easy, but Nena was resolute. She had watched her daughter suffer in silence long enough. It was time to confront the man who had promised to love and cherish her, yet had become her tormentor. Chike's parents greeted them with warm smiles, but when they saw the look on Nina's face, they knew something was wrong.
What's going on?
Chike's mother Ijeoma asked, noticing the tension in the room. Nina didn't waste any time.
Your son is mistreating my daughter,
she said, her voice steady but filled with a controlled anger.
He's hurting her. He's neglecting her. He's hitting her, and now she's lost 2 children. I won't let this continue.
Ijeoma's face paled.
What do you mean, Nina?
She asked, her voice trembling with shock.
Chike is not the man we thought he was,
Nina continued, her voice firm.
And he needs to be held accountable.
Ijeoma turned to her husband, Ugo, and they shared a look of deep concern. They had always seen Chike as a strong, loving husband. How could this be true? Chike's mother picked up her phone and called Chike on phone.
Hello, Chike. Where are you? Please come over to the family house right away. There is an emergency.
Chike on the other end.
Hello? Hello, Mom? Emergency? What's wrong?
Just come over, we are waiting.
30 minutes later, Chike was already in their family house. Seeing his wife and her mother in their family house was confusing to him. He was shocked at the same time. And then he asked,
What's going on here? Amara, why are you here? What's this all about?
He asked, his voice cold.
We are here because of your actions,
Nina said, her gaze unwavering.
You are hurting my daughter. You are hurting her, and you are not being the man she needs. You promised to cherish her, and yet you have broken her. You will not escape responsibility.
Chike looked down, avoiding his mother's gaze.
I am sorry, Mama.
He muttered, but his words lacked the sincerity Amara so desperately needed.
I will change. I will do better, I promise. I've been under a lot of pressure.
But Amara could hear the emptiness in his voice. She knew this wasn't the first time he had promised to change, only to slip back into his old ways. She couldn't trust his words anymore. Days passed, and despite Chike's promises, nothing changed. The emotional distance between them grew wider. Amara's heart was heavy, but she kept trying to move forward, hoping that things would get better. Then one day she found out she was pregnant again. This time, Amara allowed herself to feel hope. She was terrified of losing another child, but the thought of becoming a mother again filled her with a fragile sense of joy. She thought maybe, just maybe, this pregnancy would be different. But as the weeks passed, Chike's behavior grew worse. He became more violent, more erratic, and his temper seemed to grow uncontrollably. He would hit her during their arguments, his fists landing on her body with increasing force. He blamed her for everything: the problems in their marriage, the pain of their miscarriages, the frustration of his own life. Every slap, every shove left a bruise not only on her body but on her spirit. One evening, after an especially brutal argument, Amara felt a sharp pain in her abdomen. It was too much. The physical pain, the emotional torment. She couldn't take it anymore. She collapsed to the floor, clutching her stomach, realizing with horror that she was losing the baby. Chike, still angry, didn't even notice. He left the house that night, as he often did, and Amara was left to grieve in silence. The night had been long and full of pain. Amara laid on the floor, clutching her stomach as waves of agony coursed through her body. Blood stained her sheets, and tears soaked her face. Chike had slammed the door in her face, leaving her in the darkness, uncaring of her suffering. She couldn't understand it. She was exhausted, both physically and emotionally. The man she had once loved seemed so far away, a stranger that she could no longer reach. With trembling hands, Amara managed to grab her phone. Her vision blurred as she scrolled through the contacts, finding her mother's number. With every ounce of strength she had left, she dialed it.
Mama, please, come help me,
Amara whispered, her voice barely audible through the pain. On the other end of the line, Nina's voice immediately shifted to a panic.
Amara, what's wrong? Where are you? I need you, hurry. Mama, hurry.
Amara sobbed, barely able to keep herself upright. Minutes later, Nina Nnamdi, Amara's father, arrived at her house. They found their daughter lying on the floor, pale, weak and bleeding. The sight shattered their hearts. Without a second thought, they scooped her up, rushing her to the hospital where the doctor immediately attended to her. The diagnosis was clear. Amara had miscarried again, the third time in a row. The emptiness she felt was overwhelming. As Amara lay in the sterile hospital bed, unable to stop the tears from flowing, her parents could see the agony in her eyes, the heartbreak of losing yet another child. Combined with the emotional abuse she was enduring in her marriage, was more than any mother should ever witness. Nina held her daughter's hand tightly, her heart breaking for her.
Amara, I can't bear to see you suffer like this. We will fix this. You are not going back to him, not until we know what's really going on.
Amara nodded weakly, her body still trembling.
I don't know what to do anymore. Mama, I feel so lost.
Amara's parents, determined to help their daughter, immediately tried calling Chike, but his phone went unanswered. Then they contacted his parents, Ijoma and Ugo, hoping they could reach him. When they finally spoke to Chike's parents, they were informed that Chike was away and unavailable.
We will speak to him and get him to come,
Ijoma assured them. But Amara's parents insisted that Amara stay with them.
She's not going back to that house,
Nina declared firmly.
She will stay here until we figure out what's really going on.
That night, Amara stayed at her parents' house. her body broken from the miscarriage, but her heart even more so from the pain of her marriage. Chike's parents called him again, and this time he answered.
What's going on, Chike? Amara was in the hospital. She lost the baby.
Ijoma said sternly, her voice thick with concern. Chike's voice came through, shaky and filled with regret.
What do you mean she lost the baby? I don't even know what's happening.
Ijoma told him everything about Amara's pain, the miscarriages, and the deep suffering she had been enduring at his hands. She made it clear that this couldn't go on anymore. Chike, confused and regretful, promised that he would come to see Amara, but deep down he knew he was responsible for the cracks in their marriage. He didn't fully understand what was happening to him, but something inside him told him he had to make things right. The next day, Chike arrived at Amara's family's home, his face pale with guilt.
Amara, I don't know what happened. I never meant for this to happen. I am so sorry. I didn't know how far I had gone. I don't understand why I am like this. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Amara looked at him, her heart torn between love and pain.
Chike, I don't know who you are anymore. I don't know how we got here.
But Amara's parents were firm in their stance.
You are not taking her back. Not until we figure out what's happening,
Nina said, standing tall.
This marriage is broken and we are going to fix it.
Feeling desperate, Amara's mother decided to take a step that would change everything. She called upon the pastor she had known for years, a man of deep faith and wisdom. He had helped their family before, and Amara's mother believed he could help now. The pastor arrived later that afternoon, and after listening to Amara's story, he immediately understood that something supernatural was at play.
This is not just a marriage problem, Amara. This is something deeper. Something has cost your relationship. It's the gift that was given to you, isn't it?
Amara's eyes widened in shock.
What do you mean? What gifts?
The pastor explained that Amara's marriage had been cursed, that the evil spirit had been attached to the gift given by Ngozi, the carved wooden image that Amara had placed in her bedroom.
That gift was cursed. It was meant to bring destruction to your marriage. It is the cause of all your pain and suffering.
Amara felt a chill run down her spine.
But how do we fix it?
She whispered.
You must confront the source of the cause.
The pastor replied.
The person who gave you the gifts, Ngozi, must confess her actions. Only then can you and your husband be free from this curse.
Amara's heart sank.
Ngozi, my best friend? How could she do this?
Amara invited Chike, her husband, over to her parents' house the following day, where the pastor performed deliverance and prayers on them to rid them of the curse. The pastor laid hands on Chike, praying for healing and restoration, asking God to break the chains that had bound him and to free him from the evil influence. After the deliverance, the pastor instructed them to bring the cursed gifts. Amara and Chike went home and retrieved the wooden carving. The pastor took it along with their prayers and declared that it was no longer part of their lives. He took the wooden image outside and set it on fire. The pastor then instructed Chike and Amara to invite Ngozi to their house. Amara went ahead, picked her phone and called her friend Ngozi on phone, inviting her over for a dinner the next day. Ngozi was so excited that she was going to come to her friend's house for a dinner, not knowing that it was for something else. The next day, when Ngozi arrived at Amara's house, she was surprised seeing a whole lot of people in the house. The pastor went ahead to tell her of everything that had transpired and what she did. At first, Ngozi denied everything, but the power of the pastor's words and the weight of her own guilt soon overwhelmed her.
I did it,
Ngozi confessed, tears streaming down her face.
I was jealous of Amara. I wanted what she had. I never wanted to see her happy with Chike. I did this. I cursed her. And I'm sorry. Please forgive me.
Amara and Chike, though devastated by the betrayal, knew they had to forgive her to break the chains of the curse.
We forgive you, but we want nothing more to do with you,
Amara said, her voice steady but heartbroken. The pastor prayed for Ngozi, and as he did, a weight seemed to lift from her. She was set free from the dark influence she had brought into their lives. In the days that followed, Amara and Chike worked hard to rebuild their marriage. With the costs broken, they were able to move forward together. Amara found herself pregnant once more, and this time it was different. There was peace in their home, and this time Amara carried the pregnancy to full term. 9 months later, Amara gave birth to twins, a beautiful boy and girl. Their laughter filled the house, and the joy that had been absent for so long returned. They lived happily ever after, a family healed by love, forgiveness, and faith. The moral of the story is that we should be careful and prayerful because the world is evil. Thank you, fam, for watching through to the end of this video. Please consider subscribing to our channel if you are yet to do that. Like and share this video, and until we meet on our next story. Bye.